I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mark, and I've been married to Lisa for about 5 years now. We met young, fell hard, and got hitched pretty quick. She was the girl I thought I knew inside out, the girl I trusted with everything. We had our ups and downs, sure, but generally I thought our life was solid. We didn't fight much. We loved the same shows, went on vacations, shared a small apartment that we decorated ourselves. It was simple, happy in its way. But recently things started shifting. At first I just noticed little things. She was more distant, less interested in the little routines we had. She'd come home late from dance classes, claiming she was taking up salsa, something she always joked she'd never do. Her phone became more private. She'd leave it face down on the table, and if I accidentally bumped it, she'd quickly grab it and lock the screen. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe she was just tired or stressed with work. I even supported her decision to take up dance lessons, thinking it was her way of easing stress or finding herself again. But then came the oddest part. Her phone started showing strange notifications. I'd see texts from someone named Jake, but they were always quick, clipped, and guarded. And her social media activity changed too. She was suddenly more active late at night, liking photos, commenting on strangers' posts, especially videos from this dance studio she'd started going to. She'd come home after these sessions, often smelling like perfume I didn't recognize and with a weird smile on her face. I remember one night, I caught her giggling at her phone while I was trying to talk to her about our weekend plans. She looked so guilty, like she got caught stealing something. One day, I decided to go through her phone when she was in the shower. Honestly, I didn't plan to snoop, just a quick glance to see if she was okay mentally. But what I found, it was like stepping into someone else's nightmare. There were dozens of texts, some flirty, others downright inappropriate. Photos too, a mix of selfies, but also what looked like private videos from her dance studio. Videos where she was in close, intimate contact with this instructor, Jason. They weren't just dance lessons, they were different. It wasn't the kind of contact you have with a professional instructor. It was clear they crossed some line more than just instructor and student. I felt my blood run cold. My heart pounded in my chest. My mind raced as I stared at the screen in disbelief. How long had this been going on? Did she think I wouldn't find out? By the time I finished scrolling through everything, I felt this wave of anger and betrayal wash over me. I couldn't believe I'd been blind to it. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. I felt like I'd been played for a fool, like every laugh, every shared moment was some facade. All this time she was sneaking around behind my back, doing God knows what with some guy from her dance class. I didn't sleep that night, and the worst part, I knew I had to confront her. I had to know what the hell was happening, why she'd lied so blatantly, and what this meant for us. I didn't know if I was more angry or broken, just that I couldn't keep pretending anymore. The next day, I woke up with a knot in my stomach that refused to untangle. I kept staring at my phone, debating whether I should just confront her right then or wait until she got home. I didn't want to be the guy who freaked out, but I also couldn't hold back the truth I'd uncovered. Finally, I decided to do it face to face. No hiding behind screens, no hiding my feelings. I wanted her to see my anger, my disappointment, everything I couldn't hold back anymore. Lisa came home around dinner time, her usual confident stride, but I noticed she was a little more guarded than usual. As soon as she stepped inside, I didn't waste any time. I looked her straight in the eyes and asked, "Who is Jake?" Her face froze for a second like she'd been caught off guard, but then she smirked, that bitchy little smile she always had when she thought she was in control. "Oh, that. Just some guy I met at dance. Nothing serious," she said, brushing it off like it was nothing. I clenched my fists. I knew better. I'd seen enough to know that nothing serious was a lie. A pathetic excuse. I pulled out my phone, showing her the screenshots, the videos I'd found. Her eyes widened, and for a moment I thought she'd deny it outright, but she just shrugged like she didn't care. "You're crazy, Mark," she snapped. "I was just having some fun. It's not like I was cheating on you. It's just dance, for God's sake. You're overreacting. Maybe you're just jealous because you're boring in bed." Her words hit me like a punch. I couldn't believe she'd say that, like she was justified, like her betrayal was a minor thing. But the worst part, Her tone was so dismissive, so bitchy, like she didn't care that I was hurt. That's when I snapped. You think this is just fun? You think cheating behind my back, lying to my face, and pretending it's innocent is okay? You're a damn liar, Lisa. I saw what you did. Those videos, those messages. How could you even lie about something so obvious? I was furious, my voice rising, trembling with anger. She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms, acting like I was the crazy one. Whatever, Mark. You're blowing this out of proportion. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Just some private lessons, some flirting. It's not like I slept with him, she said, voice dripping with sarcasm. I could see she was trying to act like I was overreacting, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I felt a cold, sharp wave of betrayal settle deep inside me. My world had turned upside down in just a few hours. I'd always trusted her, believed in us, and now it felt like it was all just a lie. I didn't say much after that. I just looked at her, feeling the weight of everything crashing on me. I was angry, heartbroken, humiliated. I wanted to scream at her, to shake her and make her admit how much she'd hurt me. But I also knew I had to keep my cool for now. I told her I needed some time to think, and I left the house, walking out into the cold evening air, feeling like I'd lost a part of myself that I'd never get back. That night I lay awake, replaying everything I'd seen, every lie she spat at me. I felt so stupid for trusting her, for thinking we were solid, and even then, I knew this wasn't going to end with just an apology or a quick fix. It was only the beginning of something much darker that I had to figure out how to handle. The days that followed were a blur of anger, confusion, and a strange kind of numbness. I kept replaying that confrontation over and over in my head, trying to make sense of how someone I loved and trusted could do something so callous. It was like waking up in someone else's nightmare. Every moment I was alone, I'd think about that video, her laughing with Jason, the way she looked so intimate. I couldn't get her out of my head. I kept asking myself, how could she do this? And more importantly, why? I started noticing even more changes in her behavior, and honestly, it made me feel like I was going crazy. She'd be cold and bitchy, snapping at me for the smallest things. Her phone still kept drawing my attention. I'd catch her sneaking glances, hiding notifications, and I knew she was hiding something. I didn't want to believe she'd continue to lie, but part of me was terrified that this was just the beginning of a long, drawn-out betrayal. One afternoon, I decided I needed to get some answers, real answers. I couldn't just walk around in this fog of confusion. So I sat her down again, this time with a calm but firm tone. I told her I knew about the affair, the videos, the messages. I asked her point blank, "Are you still seeing him? Are you still doing this behind my back?" Her reaction caught me off guard. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and said, "Oh, please, Mark. It's not like that. You're just jealous and insecure. Jason is just some guy I took lessons from. It's not a big deal." Her denial was so brazen, so full of bullshit, I almost laughed out loud. But I didn't. Instead, I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "You're lying. I saw everything. You're cheating on me, Lisa. And if you think I'm just going to roll over and accept it, you're dead wrong." Her face twisted, a mixture of frustration and defiance, like she was trying to gaslight me into believing I was crazy. "You're overreacting," she snapped. "You have no proof. You're making a huge fuss over nothing. Maybe I was just having some fun and you're acting like a jealous kid." That word, jealous, hit hard, like I was the one to blame for feeling betrayed. I felt a surge of rage boiling up inside me. How dare she call me jealous? How dare she dismiss what she did like it was nothing? I told her that I wasn't going to be played anymore, that I deserved honesty. I told her that if she was still messing around with Jason, I'd be done with her. Her eyes flicked away and she crossed her arms again, stubborn as hell. "Fine," she said. "If that's how you want to be, then maybe we're better off apart. I don't need your approval to do what I want." That was the moment I realized this was beyond just a fling or some stupid dance lessons. She was willing to throw everything away, us, our marriage, for whatever this thing with Jason was. I felt like I'd been hit with a sledgehammer. I'd been betrayed and humiliated, and yet I still cared enough to want to fix it. But I also knew I could see her for what she was now, a manipulative, bitchy woman who didn't respect me or our vows. I went for a walk that evening, trying to clear my head, but it was no use. My mind kept circling back to her lies, the videos, the way she looked at Jason like he was something special. I couldn't believe I'd sunk so low, trusting someone so completely, only to get stabbed in the back. For the first time in my life, I questioned everything I believed about love, loyalty, and the person I thought I knew. That night, I promised myself I wouldn't let her keep screwing with my head. No matter how much I hurt, I knew I had to figure out what to do next, whether that meant fighting to save what was left or walking away for good. The next few days were a whirlwind. I stayed home, trying to process everything, but it felt like I was walking on a razor's edge. Every time I thought about Lisa and Jason, I got this sick feeling in my stomach, a mixture of anger, hurt, and betrayal I couldn't shake. I kept asking myself how she could be so cold, so dismissive of what she did. It was like she didn't care that she'd shattered everything we had built together. One night, I finally decided I needed to see her again face to face. I couldn't just keep hiding from the truth. I wanted her to explain herself, to tell me why she did it, why she thought she could get away with cheating on me like I was some fool. I arranged to meet her at a bar nearby. I knew it was risky, but I needed closure. When she showed up, she looked the same bitchy self, smirking, acting like she was the one in control. We sat across from each other and I let her have it. I told her I knew about everything, her affair, the videos, the messages. I demanded she tell me the truth, no more lies. Her response: she rolled her eyes, took a long sip of her drink, and then said, "Look, Mark, I don't owe you anything. Yeah, I cheated. Yeah, I fucked Jason. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. I just needed something different, something more exciting. You're boring as hell. And I was just having some fun. Honestly, I don't see what the big deal is." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. She was justifying her betrayal like it was some kind of joke, like I was supposed to just accept that she'd been screwing around behind my back because she was bored. I stared at her, furious but trying to stay calm. I told her that her fun was destroying everything we had, that I didn't deserve to be treated like some fool. I told her that I loved her, but I couldn't accept her lying and cheating like it was nothing. She scoffed again and said, "You're so dramatic, Mark. Maybe you're just insecure. Maybe you're afraid of losing control. I don't need your permission to do what I want. If you can't handle it, then fine, I'll leave." Her face had this defiant, bitchy expression, like she was trying to push me away, make me feel small. But I wasn't going to let her do that. I told her I was done playing her game, that I'd think about what to do next. That night, I went home feeling worse than ever. It was like my world was crumbling around me. I loved her, I really did, but her actions showed she didn't care about us, about me. I wondered if I ever knew her at all. Did she ever really love me? Or was I just some guy she settled for? I kept asking myself if I should fight to save the marriage or just cut my losses and walk away. The part that hurt the most wasn't just the betrayal itself. It was the way she lied, the way she dismissed my feelings, like I was just some obstacle standing in her way of whatever thrill she was chasing with Jason. I realized that her sense of entitlement, her bitchy attitude, was what made it so hard to forgive. She believed she could do whatever she wanted with no consequences. But I wasn't going to be that guy who just takes it. I was done being the fool. I started planning my next move, whether it was to confront her again, seek out legal advice, or just pack my damn bags and leave. I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to let her keep pulling this shit without paying some kind of price. The days that followed were the most confusing of my life. I kept oscillating between anger, heartbreak, and a strange sense of emptiness. Sometimes I'd catch myself staring at the wall, replaying everything she said, everything she did. I felt like I was losing grip on reality. Every time I thought about her with Jason, I felt this intense urge to do something, anything, to make her pay, to make her understand what she'd done to me. But I also knew that I had to be smart about it. One evening, I decided to do a little digging. I wanted to find out if she was still seeing him, still sneaking around. I started by going through her social media accounts, looking for signs, and sure enough, there were still recent messages from Jason. Not just a few, but a whole string of texts, some flirtatious, some downright explicit. I saw pictures she sent him, revealing, intimate, the kind of stuff you only share when you don't care about hiding it. I felt my blood boil again, but this time I knew I had to act fast. I was furious, but I also needed to think about my next move. I couldn't just confront her again without a plan. I needed proof more than just what I had on my phone, so I hired a private investigator. I didn't want to be the crazy husband who stalks her, but I needed hard evidence. And honestly, I didn't trust her to come clean on her own. I wanted to catch her red-handed. Within a couple of days, the investigator came back with what I needed. They had proof that Lisa and Jason had been meeting up, staying out late, and even sleeping together a few times. There were photographs of her sneaking into his apartment, texts full of promises and lust. It was all laid out in a report, fact after fact. I sat there reading it, feeling my world shatter all over again. I thought I was prepared for everything, but nothing could have prepared me for this level of betrayal. I knew I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I called her that night, told her I needed to see her immediately. When she arrived, I laid everything out on the table: photos, messages, the report. Her face drained of color and she stammered, trying to come up with excuses. She said she was sorry, that she didn't mean for it to go this far, that she was just feeling lonely, that she didn't want to hurt me, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her I wanted a divorce, that I couldn't stay married to someone who lied and cheated so blatantly. Her reaction was a mix of anger and tears. She yelled at me, accused me of invading her privacy, and called me crazy. But I knew the truth. No amount of her bitchy lies could undo what had been done. I finally saw her for who she truly was: selfish, entitled, and a liar. I realized she had never really loved me. She loved herself, and that was all that mattered to her. That night I slept alone, feeling a strange mix of relief and devastation. I knew my decision was final. I was done with the lies, done with feeling like I was just some backup plan for her boredom. I had to start over. I had to rebuild myself after all this. I learned that trust isn't something you can take for granted. It's fragile, and once shattered, it's almost impossible to repair. But I also learned I had the strength to walk away from someone who didn't respect me enough to be honest. The pain was still fresh, but deep down, I knew I was better off without her. If I learned anything from all this, it's that a bitchy, entitled woman who cheats isn't worth holding on to. Sometimes, you have to cut your losses and walk away. And that's exactly what I was going to do. The aftermath was as messy as I expected, but also oddly clarifying. Once I had everything laid out: proof, her confessions, her betrayal, I filed for divorce. I didn't want to drag it out, didn't want to keep living in this limbo where every day felt like walking on broken glass. I moved out of the apartment we shared, packed my things, and found a new place to start over. It was tough, no doubt about it. There were moments I'd wake up and wonder why I let myself get so blindsided, so stupidly trusting. But then I'd remind myself that people like Lisa, entitled, bitchy, willing to cheat, are the ones you learn from the hardest. Looking back, I realize I've come out of this with a sharper sense of what I deserve. I shouldn't have to accept lies, betrayal, or someone's selfishness. I should be with someone who respects me, who values honesty and loyalty. But it's not just about her. It's about me learning to recognize the warning signs early on, how to trust my gut and not ignore those subtle red flags. Honestly, I've also learned that revenge doesn't fix anything. I didn't want to humiliate her or make her suffer. I just wanted the truth to come out and to protect myself from more heartbreak. In the end, walking away was the best choice I could have made. I've started going back to the gym, reconnecting with friends I had neglected, and rediscovering what makes me happy without her around. It's not easy, and I still feel the sting sometimes, but I know I'll survive. To anyone reading this who's going through something similar, trust your instincts. Don't ignore the little signs, and don't let someone treat you like you're disposable. Cheaters like Lisa might think they're smart, but in the end, the truth always finds a way out. I hope I've learned to be smarter, more cautious. I've also learned that I don't need someone who lies and cheats to feel whole. I just need to be honest with myself and know my worth. So yeah, I guess this is my story, raw, painful, and real. I hope sharing it helps someone else see that no matter how much it hurts, walking away from a toxic relationship is sometimes the only way to save yourself. And trust me, It's better to be alone than in a relationship built on lies.